Hi everyone, welcome to my Building an EXE.js application using Modern Toolkit series. It's episode 9 where we will add a chart component to our application. To add a chart component to our application, we need to define store, type of chart, Cartesian or polar, axis and series. Axis configuration includes the type of axis like categorical or numerical, position, top, bottom, left, right, and configuration of fields that correspond to a specific axis. Series configuration includes type of series like bar series, line series, or pi series, X field and Y field configs for Cartesian chart, and radius field for polar chart. So before adding a chart component to our application, let's first discuss data that we will use to feed our chart. For pivot grid component, we have used flat data, but for a chart component, we need an aggregated data, like team name and total count of wins, total count of losses. So first let's prepare this data for our chart component and then add our chart component and use this data. First of all, let's create a model and a store for our aggregated data. We will put it into shared folder, source folder, model, and let's create new file. Aggregated match. And let's create a store file. As for the ThreatMatch model, we will not define any fields for our aggregated match model, and our aggregated matches store definition will be similar to ThreatMatch store definition. We just define alias, store ID, model aggregated match, and we use proxy with type equal to memory. And we add only one method to our aggregated matches store. This method is called load from flat, and this method will fill our store based on data from a flat store. So for every country, we create an item into aggregated data object and calculate total number of win and loss for every country based on data from flat store. After this, we modify our object into convert our object into array, sort this based on total count of wins, and then we slice our array and only take first two items. We do it to show only 20 countries in our chart and do not show all countries. After this, we add data from our array to our store. Now let's add this store to the main view model of the desktop version of our application. So, source view main view model, and we just add this aggregated matches store. Now we need to load our aggregated matches store. So to do this, we will modify a bit on matches load method of our controller. Now we will still load from original call load from original method on our flat matches store to load data into flat matches store, but after this we will call our load from flat method on aggregated matches store to fill the store based on data from flat matches store. Now we need to add charts package to our application. First of all, we will install this package using npm install command and install ext charts package from Sench's private repo. And after this, we modify our app.json file and add the charts package to requires array. And the last thing that we need to do is to add path to our uh, chart package to workspace JSON file. So into the list of, with passes to our packages, we add one more. So path to our charts package. Now let's add our chart view, visualization view. API of chart package is the same for classic and modern toolkit. Basically, it's the same package for classic and modern toolkit. So we could put this code into shared folder, and let's add new folder visualization. And new file visualization view. So, and define our class. So we will use Cartesian chart. We defined X types that will be used to add this component to our main view. We define controller, and we tell that we would like to use aggregated matches store for this component. Now let's define axis and series for our chart. Let's start with series. We will have only one series, bar D3, so it will be like bar series, but in D3. We defined colors that should be used for our series. X field should be team name, and Y field should be win and loss fields. We define labels for win and loss, so it will show count of wins and count of loss. We display these labels inside of a chart. Orientation horizontal, so it could be also vertical. We will highlight items when user will move mouse over specific item, and we define tooltip for every item in our series. And tooltip should be rendered according to our own tooltip render method that we will define in visualization view controller a bit later. Now let's define axis for our chart. We have used bar D3 series, so that's why we use numeric D3 and category D3 axis. Numeric axis will be at left position, and category axis at bottom. Left axis will correspond to win fields, and category axis will correspond to team name. It's category because team name is not a numeric, but it's like set of values. And we define titles for our axis. Basically, you could define any styling parameters to axis as well as to series that will configure a size of elements, colors, border, etc. Now let's define a visualization view controller. And our view controller will have only one method on tooltip render, and it will set team name value for a record as a title of tooltip, and win and loss values to the body of tooltip, to HTML property. Now we need to use our visualization view in our main view. So let's go to main view model, and at visualization tab we will add visualization view. So let's start our application. Now let's look at our app in browser, and we see our nice looking visualization. When I move mouse over specific bar element, I see all details. So like count of wins and count of losses. Now let's add our chart to the phone version of our application. So first of all, we need to add aggregated match store to main view model. Let's load this store in the same way as we have done for desktop version. And add our visualization view to a menu view, to visualization tab. And there is a phone version of our visualization. In this episode, we have added a chart component to our application. And in the next episodes, we will add even more awesome components. See you in the next episodes.